Katie Hopkins criticizes Labour's economic vision under Rachel Reeves. In a recent political commentary that's sparking debate across the UK, commentator Katie Hopkins has taken aim at Labour's shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves, questioning the direction of the party's economic strategy ahead of the next general election. The outspoken media personality aired her views during a public broadcast, arguing that Labour's proposed fiscal policies under Reeves may risk weakening Britain's financial independence and placing further strain on the working and middle classes. While Hopkins is known for her controversial tone, it's essential to look beyond the personalities and focus on the policy disagreements at the core of this discussion. So, what exactly are Reeves' economic plans, and why are they drawing such sharp criticism from some conservative commentators? Rachel Reeves, a former Bank of England economist and currently Labour's shadow chancellor, has laid out an economic vision aimed at delivering what she describes as securonomics, an approach focused on creating economic stability, investing in green industries, and boosting productivity through public-private partnerships. Green Prosperity Plan, a pledge to invest £28 billion annually in green infrastructure, though the amount has recently been revised in light of fiscal responsibility concerns. Make Work Pay Agenda, proposals to improve wages, enhance job security, and tackle insecure work conditions. Tightening tax loopholes. Labour has floated the idea of closing non-dom tax loopholes and increasing taxes on private equity earnings to fund public services. Reeves insists that these policies will ensure long-term economic security and position the UK as a global leader in green technology and innovation. Hopkins, reflecting a more traditional conservative economic viewpoint, argues that such high levels of public spending risk increasing the national debt and overextending government influence in the economy. While her rhetoric is characteristically blunt, the underlying message echoes concerns voiced by several economic analysts. Can the UK afford expansive public investment at a time of fiscal restraint? Critics argue that even with pledges to tax the wealthy and close corporate loopholes, Labour's plans may not be enough to cover the costs of their proposed investments. There is also concern that businesses may feel alienated by policies perceived as anti-growth or overly regulatory. From Hopkins' perspective, and from many on the political right, the real worry is about control. Will Reeves' policies lead to more government involvement in markets at the expense of entrepreneurial freedom and economic flexibility? This debate is not unique to the UK. Across the globe, governments are trying to balance the urgent need for climate action, fairer income distribution, and rising public demands with economic realities like inflation, debt, and global competition. Labour's argument is rooted in the belief that sustainable, long-term growth can only come from investment, particularly in clean energy and innovation. Reeves has stated that you can't cut your way to growth, emphasizing that austerity and spending cuts are not a viable long-term solution. Supporters argue that investment-led growth, particularly in emerging sectors, can create high-paying jobs, reduce dependence on fossil fuels, and make the UK more competitive. In their eyes, the risk of doing too little outweighs the risk of doing too much. As the UK gears up for the next general election, economic policy will undoubtedly be front and centre. Polls show a divided electorate. While some welcome Labour's bold promises to tackle inequality and climate change, others worry about the financial implications and the feasibility of executing such plans without raising taxes broadly. Katie Hopkins' criticism taps into this public anxiety. Her commentary may resonate with voters concerned about rising inflation, national debt, and the long-term affordability of expansive government programs. However, it's important to note that her views do not represent all economists or even all conservative voters. Meanwhile, Reeves has defended her policies in a series of interviews, reaffirming her commitment to fiscal discipline and sustainable investment. She has emphasized that any spending would be fully costed and within the constraints of a strong fiscal framework. As the country inches closer to the next election, the divide between Labour's investment-driven platform and the Conservatives' more cautious fiscal approach is becoming sharper. Figures like Hopkins will continue to challenge Labour's messaging, but voters will ultimately decide whose vision for Britain's future they believe in. Economic uncertainty and rising global pressures mean that no policy platform will go untested. What matters most, perhaps, is transparency, accountability, and a willingness from all political actors left, right, and centre to engage in evidence-based debate. Regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, the conversation about the UK's economic future is one worth having. Are Labour's plans ambitious or overreaching? Is the Conservative emphasis on fiscal restraint the safer path or a brake on needed progress? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with the critiques raised by figures like Katie Hopkins, or do you see promise in Rachel Reeves' proposals? Drop your comments below and be part of the discussion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown of the biggest political stories shaping Britain and the world. Stay informed. Stay thoughtful. Stay engaged.